Hey guys, and welcome back to Behind the Cues, the podcast where we talk about all things theatre, from backstage chaos to the stories that stay with us long after the curtain falls. Today's episode is a little different, and honestly, probably one of the most personal episodes I've done so far because we're diving into something I absolutely adore: monologues. Now, I know most of you probably know me as someone who loves performing, whether that's in drag or just as Tom. But what a lot of people don't know is that I'm completely obsessed with writing too. Scripts, characters, dramatic tension, devastating dialogue, inject it directly into my bloodstream. And if a play has one really juicy monologue, I'm sold immediately. So today I thought I'd share some of my favourite monologue moments. Some are from productions I've worked on, some are from plays that has inspired me, and some are from my own writing, which is slightly terrifying because sharing your work out loud feels incredibly vulnerable. I will say as well, a lot of these pieces are emotional and pretty heavy at times. I'm a very physical actor, so reading them through a microphone without being able to fully perform them is definitely a challenge, but I'm going to do my best to bring them to life for you. We've got queer stories, grief, identity, love, tragedy, a little bit of Oscar Wilde chaos, and apparently not a lot of comedy because I may genuinely be incapable of writing a happy script. So grab a drink or a snack and get comfy, and let's get into my favourite monologue moments. First is from my very first play that I started writing. This play, hopefully, is going to be a fully written script at some point in the future. The name of the play is called anostia, which is a word that I thought was very appropriate for this play, and the meaning is as follows: the anxiety of not knowing the real you, or the fear that the person that you present to the world is not your true self. This piece was created for the LGBT community, or outsiders with an interest in transgender individuals. It follows Fern/Sander, a transgender individual, through their life. They write a diary entry every day from 5 years old right up to 90 years old. Each scene is a milestone in Sander's life, usually just after a birthday, death, or marriage. As you can imagine, this production would be huge, and it is something that is very near and dear to my heart as a member of the LGBT. I think it's important that we see more transgender representation in theatre. As a full ally to the community, I researched a lot, reaching out to as many transgender individuals as I could and listening to their stories, their struggles, and most importantly, their feelings around gender and social acceptance. So this one is pretty heavy. For those of you who are transgender, you may feel some things that you haven't felt in a while. However, that's the whole point of the script. So yeah, I'm going to get into it. Act 1, Scene 5. A spotlight comes up on a box of men's clothing. Centre stage. Fern is stood behind it with scissors in hand. I'm alone. God, this house is dismal. I couldn't sit here in silence any longer. I can't escape this headspace I'm in right now. I don't want to piss off my mum, but I want to be the real me. Enough is enough. If I don't do it now, I'll never do it. Fuck it. I'm her child. If she can't accept me for who I am, then I'll find a new mother. Maybe I'll run away and forget this old fucking house. Fern starts cutting her hair. You know, it's quite satisfying how fabric scissors glide through my hair. Just a shame it doesn't do the same for body parts too. I just can't stop thinking about how she makes me feel. It's absolutely infuriating, controlling me all the fucking time. Every chop is like an extra 50 kilograms off my shoulders. I'm fucking doing it. The euphoria that is flowing through me right now feels like a heroin high. I've never done heroin, but shit, this feels good. I haven't felt like this in years. The happiness I feel right now is insanity. I'm becoming me, Xander, a fucking man. Granted, the body isn't what I wanted it to be, but a fire wouldn't start without a spark, right? Blackout. Whew. Fairly emotional, as you can hear, but my friend Iona did a far better job at it than me. Feel free to head over to my Instagram to hear the full scene. This next one is a passage from a play called The Bride and the Moon. It was actually a devised project that took the play Blood Wedding from the writer Federico Garcia Lorca and short monologues that came from the cast and director. We created this fabulous mythical story called The Bride and the Moon. It was directed by the absolutely crazy and lovable Kay Bratton and played by the MA acting cohort at East 15 in 2023. The short scene I'm going to read to you is my favourite. It comes from the two narrator characters, Moon and Death, played originally by Finn Harking and Catty Tucker, two amazingly talented people that I had the privilege to work with. It's the last line of the play that really closed the show. Death stands centre stage. The brides and Leonardos form a circle and begin a pas de deux, clockwise around her, and begin to switch partners as the dance intensifies. The mother, the wife, and the grooms begin to walk anti-clockwise around the circle. Moon stands over them, watching over the action. Death tries to run free of the circle, reaching for the Leonardos. But whenever she gets close to the brides, they switch in the dance, so they slip through her fingers. In the darkest hour of the longest night, at the altar of the moon, she shall beg for his blade. In the darkest hour of the longest night, she will tame wild things by the light of the moon. A woman is born longing for destruction. Voices overlap, speaking in minor and major, a whirlwind of sound. The dance intensifies, becoming more and more violent, as do the voices, overlapping more and crescendoing until death breaks free of the circle. The voices all fall to the floor. It's happening again. The man on the horse. The bride hears the horse's footsteps and waits by her window. The knife waits for her lover, heavy, hot. She can see it in the corner of her eye, but how could she not wait by the window? The air is so cool. It's such a warm night. It always is. I am so old now. You think that time heals and walls hide things, but it isn't true. It isn't true. When things get that deep inside you, there's nobody that can change them. The air hurts, like breathing in barbed wire. I can't listen to you. I can't listen to your voice. It pulls me along, and I know I'm drowning, but I go on down. I can't watch it. Not again. Please don't make me. Please. It hurts. You want my life? Take it. It's yours. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I really did try. I'll ask the sun to make the earth smell sweet tomorrow, in honor of the runaways. Number 3 is a script that I recently finished that I started writing about 4 years ago. It follows Rob James as he speaks on a memorial night for a group of friends he's lost. This play is set in the 80s when the AIDS epidemic was rampant in the gay scene. It's called Inacisium, which means the inability to decide how much sympathy and forgiveness your situation really deserves, knowing that so many people have it far worse and others far better. leaving you in a position where you know you need to give yourself grace, but you still struggle to. So the scene takes place in a town hall. It's small, but with a stage and curtains. There's windows all along the side of the hall. The stage is empty apart from a small platform, center stage with a podium and a mic. Rob takes a small step back, rubs his face before stepping back to the podium. Thomas Gwyn Adams. What an absolute gem. We went to the same school, you know, me and Tom. We never even noticed each other until secondary school. You know, when you start experimenting with fannies and willies. He was my first ever gay experience. Not that he was fully gay, mind. He liked all people. Didn't care what they had in their pants. Became best friends after that. Realizing that he quite possibly might be my soulmate is killing me. We've been together through thick and thin. We just never made it official, you know? Tom was walking home from Pixies in Cardiff, and a gang of assholes were waiting for him in Butte Park. One punch to the side of the head, and he was gone. I mean, he said that he wanted to go out with a bang, but I don't think blunt force trauma is what he had in mind. I have lost my best friend, my world, all because he liked a little lad in him sometimes. I honestly can't come up with any other explanation than that. Because he didn't look like he had money, never carried around his wallet, and didn't even dress queer. The night after I found out about his murder, I was sorting the flat and noticed a box in the corner of his cupboard. Inside was this letter, addressed to me, taped to a small wrapped box. The letter read, "To my darling Dorothy, I'm shit with words, so I can't say this openly because I think I'd get flustered and then embarrass myself by tripping over my own feet or something. You know, you mean the world to me, and my world would be empty without you in it. I want to spend my life with you. I want to sit in our armchairs and watch the world go by when we're 80 years old. Will you marry me? I know it's illegal to get married right now, but who knows? In the future, we might be able to have this big gay sparkly wedding with drag performances and karaoke. I love you, Rob. I always have. Kiss, kiss. Love, Tom." I wish I could have told him yes. Who knows when he was supposed to give this to me? Was it the night he died or the day after? I'd say yes over and over if it meant I could spend the rest of my life with that man. Whew. That part always makes me cry, honestly. Now, the scene goes on further after this, but that's the good part, and I don't want to ruin it for the people who hear it when it eventually gets performed. Either on screen or on stage, or one of my fabulous friends from uni is setting up a radio play sort of company, and there is word of it being performed for Pride Month in a couple of weeks, I guess, now. So, one of my passions as a gay man, or you could call it a special interest, is the LGBT movement in the 80s, especially within the UK. I'm not sure where it comes from or why I find it so interesting, but I do. And taking inspiration from TV shows like It's a Sin and Pose, or movies such as Pride, Beautiful Thing, or Different for Girls, allowed me to write this short play. Number 4 is from The Importance of Being Earnest, which I only watched about a month or two ago, and I fell in love with the play. This next monologue is during Algernon's talk with Jack, and this scene is full of comedy gold, but this is one of my favourite monologues from that, I guess. I haven't the smallest intention of dining with Aunt Augusta. To begin with, I dined there on Monday, and once a week is quite enough to dine with one's own relations. In second place, whenever I do dine there, I'm always treated as a member of the family, and sent down with either no woman at all or two. In third place, I know perfectly well whom she'll place me next to tonight. She will place me next to Mary Farquhar, who always flirts with her own husband across the dinner table. That is not very pleasant. Indeed, it's not even decent. And that sort of thing is enormously on the increase. The amount of women in London who flirt with their own husband is perfectly scandalous. It looks so bad, and it's simply washing one's clean linen in public. I can't believe how incredibly queer this play is, and I'd go as far to say as it's Oscar Wilde's best. I think that's why I probably loved it so much, because it's so camp. I love it. So, my last monologue is from a play I'm currently writing called Valley Soil. It follows a group of friends gathering in an old, rundown shed upon an allotment in the South Wales valleys. You could say I like writing about Wales, but that's another story. To summarise, the friends are looking for an answer to why their friend committed suicide a couple of years prior. I must add a trigger warning before I read this one, as there is graphic descriptions of suicide. This monologue comes from the prologue, where we first meet Lucy. She talks about her feelings before ending her life. On stage, we see a shed in low light with a small greenhouse attached. There is no sounds other than rain to greet the audience as they enter the auditorium. House lights fade as Rising by Jamie Duffy plays. We see a shift in light as the moonlight creates an atmosphere over the shed. Enter Lacey, cold and dripping wet. Rain patters against the cracked greenhouse panes. Lacey's voice is clear but small, like she's talking just to herself. It's late, and colder than I thought it'd be out here. I remember when we sneak up to the shed after school. Muddy boots, crisps for dinner, thinking this little plot was magic. Like if we planted enough seeds, the whole world might straighten itself out. Everyone thinks I'm fine. I've had that smile down for years. Teachers, family, even you lot. Smart enough to say the right things. Simple enough, no one asks questions. But tonight, it feels like I'm just background noise. Like an old song on the radio that nobody really listens to anymore. If you find this, if you're standing where I am, don't hate me for stepping away. Just plant the forget-me-not, yeah? At least let something beautiful grow amongst this rotten wood and rust. Lacey walks outside behind the shed. We see Lacey's shadow through the broken window. Lacey takes a sharp inhale and lets out air with a slight whimper. She has cut her wrists and has fallen out of sight. It's safe to say, I think I can't write comedies. However, I will say I'm trying to do my best to not make everything dark and gloomy. I promise there is some comedy relief in my writing. You'll just have to wait and find out. And that, my lovelies, brings us to the end of today's episode of Behind the Cues. I know this one was a little heavier and more personal than some of my usual episodes, but honestly, theatre is personal, and that's why I love it so much. A good monologue can crack somebody open in the space of a few minutes. It can make you laugh, it can make you uncomfortable, it can make you grieve, or make you finally feel seen. Sharing my own writing is always terrifying because scripts feel a bit like handing someone your diary and saying, please don't judge me too hard. But I'm really proud of these stories and the worlds that they come from. A lot of them are rooted in queer experiences, identity, grief, love, and the strange, messy parts of being human. And if even one person listening connects with them, then I think I've done my job. I'd also love to know what your favourite monologues are, whether it's something classical, contemporary, musical theatre, film, or even something you've written yourself. Send them my way because I'm always looking for new pieces to obsess over. And who knows, maybe one day some of these scripts will probably make it into stage or screen. Manifest it for me, please. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Behind the Cues. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with your theatre friends, drama schoolmates, or that one overly intense actor who definitely has a monologue ready at all times. Find me over at Tom Does Theatre, both on Instagram and TikTok. I'll look forward to chatting to you guys. I've been Tom, and until next time, stay dramatic, stay creative, and I'll see you behind the cues. Bye-bye!